YouTube, how you doing? DuckFilms here, and I hope you're having a great day. What I have for you today is my super early Marvel Rivals Season 3 tier list. Yes, it's a super early tier list, and the next coming weeks I'll make a updated one, but this tier list is based off the outgoing Season 2.5 heroes, and with the Season 3 balance changes. Now, just like in my other tier list videos, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and that's perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I do generally read all of the comments, and I like to see what people would place their heroes accordingly. But there's no need to be super toxic, it's just a tier list video for fun. And while you're at it, if you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed yet, why not? It's completely free and you're coming back anyways. It's quite literally the best way to help me out. And at 20,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving a Season 3 Battle Pass away, so you better subscribe. But regardless, I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So when it comes to Doctor Strange, he has definitely improved thanks to his recent buffs back in patch 2.5. And we're seeing his pick rate climb in higher elos, especially with the double shield comps becoming more common due to the dominance of Hawkeye and Hela. But, you know, a little less Hawkeye now because of a little bit of nerfs. That said, Punisher's prevalence in the meta makes it hard to justify putting Strange in S tier. Realistically, he's more of a solid A tier pick. He synergizes very well with Punisher, Teleport plus Turret. But with the recent nerfs to Punisher in his turret, you might be seeing this character picked less and less. But overall, you know, Doctor Strange, super good for last touching points, super good team ultimate. Everything about Doctor Strange is very solid. The removal of fall off on his E ability back in Season 2.5 was a huge quality of life buff. He brings tools to the table that no other Vanguard does, especially in double tank compositions. So at A tier feels appropriate right now. And you can either agree or disagree, that's perfectly fine, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but I think he sits at the tier of A. Now, when it comes to Hulk, I would say Hulk is a very situational character. The Namor team-up is still decent, but Namor himself has fallen off after significant nerfs, although he did receive a patch for the upcoming Season 3, which he's going to be doing more damage with his primary attack, and the primary attack is going to be having more speed as well as his secondary attack, so he's definitely more viable now, but you still need the team up with Hulk to really play Namor at a high level, because he's not amazing. I mean, he lands comfortably in B tier in my opinion for Hulk. Some tweaks are definitely needed to make him more competitive in the current meta, but in certain matchups and situations, he can still get a ton of value. With that being said, I think Hulk lands at the tier of B, but it's a different story in terms of pro play. I think there's some pro players and pro teams that play Hulk extremely well. It synergizes extremely well. You could put it up to A tier for pro play, but I would say a majority of the player base, or a majority of players would put him in the B tier, mainly due to the fact that you don't see him a ton. Especially because Punisher was so prevalent in Season 2.5, but now we're entering Season 3, you might be seeing Punisher less and Hulk more because of the Namor buffs, so that's always a W. But for right now, for the beginning of Season 3, I think people are still going to be playing Punisher, and Hulk is not going to be getting that ton of value. So I put him B, I put him like B plus, or A minus, like in between A and B, if that makes sense. So when it comes to Magneto, in my opinion, Magneto is still the king of tanks. Magneto has been dominant for multiple seasons now, and that hasn't changed. While he does take some skill to master, even an average player can get solid value from him. His synergy with Emma is unmatched, and he's a top pick or ban in nearly every competitive match. There's no debate. S tier without question. Unless he gets some type of major nerf, he'll still likely stay there. And I don't think this character will ever really get nerfed, because it seems like Magneto is the bread and butter of literally every single team composition in the entire game. And he's probably like the best solo tank you could have in the game as well. You need Magneto to be able to protect your own strategists while going for the enemy strategists as well with the ultimate and bubbles. So again, there's no reason why you cannot pick this character or ban him when need be. So for that reason, we're going to be putting him in the tier of S, especially for Season 3. I think this character is going to be insane. So when it comes to Thor, even with the recent changes that allows his Awakening rune to be cancelled, Thor is still rather underwhelming. His kit doesn't really contribute enough to team play, and most Thor players just end up feeding in my opinion, and they meta dominated by Punisher, Hawkeye, and Storm back in Season 2.5. we're probably going to see less of Punisher and more of these hit scan heroes like Hela, Phoenix, maybe Hawkeye, Human Torch, and characters like that, maybe even Bucky, Wolverine. And to be honest, Thor is going to be getting shredded by those characters. He doesn't really peel, he doesn't control space well, he's just not it right now. And especially in Season 3, because he didn't receive any changes, I'm going to value this character very lowly. I think he's going to get punished a lot by the characters that are going to be dominant in Season 3. So for that sake, we're going to be putting him rather low. I mean, I'll be generous and put Thor in the tier of D and not F-. So if I can find him. Okay. So D is fine for me. Now when it comes to Peni Parker, there isn't necessarily a ton of people that play Peni to a high level. And Peni is what I call a specific scenario hero. On certain maps like Convergence or Convoy maps such as Midtown, she can work well, especially in triple tank team compositions. However, most players don't know how to get value from her consistently. I said that completely wrong. She's not a journalist and shouldn't be picked in most standard comps. If I weren't accounting for those specific scenarios, she'd probably fall in C or D. Situational is the fairest label here, but for our sake, I think putting her at B, kind of in the mid-level, is okay. But the character is very, very situational. So it's very hard to put her higher, but people are going to get mad if I put her lower. It doesn't matter where I put this character, people are going to be upset. Look, yes, she has, an extremely high win rate. Yes, that is very true. But she has one of the lowest pick rates. So the balance there is you're speaking for a minority versus the majority. So I think this putting there in the middle is okay. Now, when it comes to Captain America, I think Cap is just fine. He's a stall tank with some backline annoyance potential. But if Emma, Wolverine, or Punisher are in play, his impact definitely plummets. Their nerf to his survivability hurt a lot back in Season 2.5. And he's vulnerable to flyers like Storm and Torch. And he sits between B and C. And I think he sits at B, especially with Psylocke cap dives now more prominent. And I think in Season 3, to get rid of Phoenix going on these off angles, I think you will have to designate like a Captain America or something like that to really dive on top of her, to really keep her under wraps and under control. So I think he kind of sits at B right now. I think that's fine. Now, when it comes to Venom, Venom is okay, but not great in the current meta of Season 2.5. And when we come to Season 3, I feel that the meta is going to be relatively the same, with Wolverine even being much more annoying. And because of that, Venom is going to get a little less impact now, especially because you either have to deal with a Wolverine who's going to grab you and shred you down as Venom, or you have a Phoenix whose ultimate literally counters your entire kit, which can be very annoying to play into. So without bans on those threats, Venom again can't do much. He's definitely not unplayable, but requires a very specific environment to shine. I think C tier feels right for now, maybe B- if we're being generous. If the meta staples are banned, he climbs a tier, but that rarely ever happens. So again, I think he sits C tier. I would like to see, C or B, it's hard to say, like, if you're actually watching this video, like each section fully through, I'm debating between C and B. So if you skip to the end, you're probably like, oh, he put it in C because he thinks he's terrible. Well, not necessarily. I think it's very situational and he sits between the two. So it's very hard to put him in one area. Now, when it comes to Thing used to be a very situational pick in the current meta. He wasn't as viable in Season 2.5. But with the change coming in Season 3 of the new ability, and I got to experience firsthand, I quite literally think this character is insane. I think he gets moved all the way to A because of that one change. He's literally basically a better version of Hulk. And what I mean by that is he essentially does the same thing as what Hulk is supposed to do. Jump into the backline, be super annoying, and get out. That's the whole premise of that. And I think Thing with the new ability does that extremely well. Although he doesn't have, the best team up in the world, And what I mean by that is that Hulk gives Namor the Gamma team up, while Thing doesn't give anybody a team up. He gets a team up with Fantastic Four and the fastball. And I think that Thing, it gets valued more now because of that. He gets the fastball, he has the more survivability, and he does basically what everything Hulk does without having to force someone play no more. So I think placing him A actually isn't that bad of a shout, so I'm going to be placing him A. Now, with Emma Frost, in my opinion, she is still top tier even in Season 3. She received some nerfs, and if you don't think she needed a nerf, I don't know what character you were playing or what hero you were playing. Emma Frost was literally the best tank in the entire game and probably the strongest tank in the entire game on comparison with Magneto. Now, she got some changes, and if we look here, they reduced the telepathic pulse damage at 99 energy from 120 to 110, and from 150 to 140 at 100 energy. Basically what this means, she got minus 20 damage in total, right? Okay, that's a lot of damage, but it's not the end of the world. They reduced the diamond form damage reduction from 30 to 25%, and I experienced it firsthand in the early access build. It wasn't anything crazy. But they reduced the cost of psionic seduction ultimate ability from 3,700 to 3,400. Now, this is a buff, but because they're reducing her damage, like, it doesn't really matter. She's still going to be building ultimate pretty much at the same exact pace as she was previously. So in general, this wasn't a change at all. The only thing that was really changed was the diamond form reduction from 30 to 25%. Not a major reduction, but this character doesn't change from S tier in my opinion. This is not a significant change that's going to make the character terrible or anything like that. I think this character is still going to be the most picked character in Season 3 in terms of Vanguard role on comparison with Magneto, maybe Thing. So I think putting her S is perfectly fine. Oh, that's the wrong hero. Emma Frost. Where are you, Mom? Okay, now Groot. Groot is a interesting character. He receives some light nerfs, but he's still very effective, solid damage, strong setups, and great utility. Now, in terms of Season 3, we're going to be having another hit scan character, and that's Phoenix. Phoenix's ultimate can wipe out his walls. Phoenix can burst him down quite quickly. I think Groot is still very good regardless of like the damage nerfs and the characters that are coming into effect. Like, to be able to play Groot, you just need to ban Wolverine, but I think Groot is still very good because of his ultimate. I think his ultimate is just so strong that he needs to be placed in this tier. Maybe you could knock him down to B, but I think placing him A is perfectly fine. Like, this is a very like ambitious, I would say, tier list of Thing, Groot, and A tier, but I think it's pretty solid. And I feel like once we see more pro play in Season 3 and more like display time in Season 3 in general, you're gonna see these characters picked a ton. Again, very early tier list. I always make an early tier list, and then I'll do a new one in a couple weeks. But this is my Vanguard section complete. If you have any of your own thoughts or opinions, do let me know in the comments down below. So for Black Panther, he is a highly niche hero. He suits a very specific playstyle and player. A skilled Panther can be extremely oppressive and dish out a ton of damage, but the game currently has many counters that hold him back. In general, I place him about C tier, but in coordinated play or the right comps, he can be extremely effective, especially since most players still don't know how to properly counter him. His biggest hardest stop is Thing, and probably with Emma also being a problem, though Thing's easier to hit, shift makes him a more consistent counter. At pro level play, Black Panther thrives as a disruptor role. He's meant to dive in the backline, pull attention, and force strategist players to heal each other instead of their team, opening up massive opportunities for your squad to collapse. But at the lower ranks, he's mostly played for stats eliminations, which can lead to empty impact. Regardless of rank, he's a very situational character, a team-dependent hero that only thrives under specific conditions. And because of that, I'm going to be placing him C tier. Now, we see him played a lot more than what we have been seeing. The character is good, don't get me wrong. Season 3, he didn't receive any changes. I think the character will still be good for very specific players who play this game. So I think putting him C tier is fine. But in terms of like an individual player, someone that plays a Black Panther a ton, you could probably place him higher, but I think a majority of where he stands right now is C. Now for Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Hela, I'm going to kind of combine them into one section, but regardless, let's get started with Black Widow. And I think Black Widow is in the same exact boat as Black Panther. Very situational, very player dependent. A cracked Widow Mantis combo can absolutely carry games, but she does demand heavy resource investment, peel, healing, timing, and ideally no shield tanks on the enemy team. Because of all of that, she ends up around C or D tier. She has potential to pop off, but the stars have to align, otherwise she's just underwhelming. We see this time and time again. We either see a Black Widow with a Mantis combo that absolutely farms the game, or we see a Black Widow and they go 0-20. Trust me, I know firsthand from seeing this. The character is very weird. The dynamic is very weird. Either insane impact or zero impact. And because of the amount that she is demanding, and because Hela and Hawkeye and Phoenix literally do her job, but this 20 times better, I feel like I'm gonna put her D. Again, there's very specific situations where this character can thrive in, but that's besides the point. Especially in Season 3, I think it's going to be a little bit weirder too for her. For Hawkeye, now in Season 2.5 and Season 2, he was definitely S tier because of the team up with Luna Snow, and the team up practically granted guaranteed eliminations. But after the nerf that changed, he's no longer an instant deleting machine with the team up. I think, again, you would just be better off picking Phoenix or Hela now, because there's a lot of punishment when it comes to Hawkeye. So I think we're going to be knocking him down to the A tier this time. In between these two, you're not seeing him that much in pro play anymore with Ignite, but we're probably going to be seeing Phoenix replaced with, or Hawkeye replaced with Phoenix, so he's A. For Hela, she's still S tier. She's been top tier for a long time and continues to dominate. Even in Season 3, literally nothing was changed to this character in Season 3, which I don't really understand. All they did was give her a mini Groot ult per se. So literally, it was essentially a buff to Hela. So I think putting her S is fine. Moving on to Iron Fist, Iron Man, Magik. So for starting off first, oh my gosh, I can't speak. Iron Fist. The nerfs to Iron Fist practically nuked his mobility back in Season 2. He still definitely hits hard. His in and out speed was a core part of his power, and now that's essentially gone, but the character is still pretty solid. He can still be super annoying in ranked. In necessary pro level and high level play, he's almost non-existent, so I place him C tier, maybe even D tier right now, especially going to Season 3, because you're going to have to be dealing with Phoenix now. Phoenix has a ton of mobility that probably can escape from Iron Fist. I feel like there's too much, there's too many characters that absolutely nuke this character. I think placing him, D. D is okay, I guess. Okay, then moving on to Iron Man. So Iron Man was a powerhouse back before he lost Gamma, and then he got changed again. So they reduced the first two repulsor blast hits from 40 to 35 and from 50 to 45 while in armor overdrive. This is a decently big change. Then they increased the energy cost of Invincible Pulse Cannon, ultimate ability from 2,800 to 3,400. Now this ultimate, even though it was pretty telepath, if that makes sense, of how you were going to ult and where you're going to ult, I think this was definitely needed because this character got his ult in 2 seconds of the game starting. So I think changing this maybe to 3,400 might have been a little bit overkill, but I think it was a smart decision. This, however, was a little bit interesting. I mean, I don't think this character's A tier anymore. If anything, I might knock him down to B, C. I think B. B's okay. Again, characters hit or miss to me. Yeah, B's fine. Then Magik. Magik, I feel, is a slept-on character. I mean, the current meta doesn't necessarily favor her. She thrives in dive or brawl comps, but the game is in a heavy poke meta currently. And with the introduction of Phoenix in Season 3, like the poke meta is going to be probably a lot harder now. She, again, struggles against ranged DPS like Hela, Winter Soldier, Phoenix now. I mean, she's not bad per se, but she's just not viable really in the current state. Especially with Phoenix when she has literally all the escape in the entire world. I think I'll put Magik C. It hurts me to put it there, but I think we have to. Again, this is a super early tier list, and I always change it. Moving on to Moonknight. Back in Season 2.5, he received a change to 275 HP. I don't think this character is good. I think he's very very scenario dependent, if that makes sense. And most of the time, he's just not worth it. I think there's better options, and because Phoenix is coming to the game, you just play Phoenix over Moonknight. When you play Phoenix over a lot of the characters, but I'm putting this character D. This character is not good. I'm actually gonna move Thor to F. Then moving on to Namor. So Namor actually got a change where they increased the Trident of Neptune projectile damage, which is his primary attack, from 70 to 75, and projectile speed from 120 meters a second to 150. This is a pretty good buff. And then they increased the Wrath of the Seven Seas projectile speed from 120 to 150. This is his right click. So they're putting the projectile speed of both his primary and secondary attack at the same exact speed. So he's a little bit more impactful now. Now, in high level play and pro play, I don't think you can play Namor as a standalone character. You have to have the Gamma team up. And I think there's just better options than doing the Gamma team up unless you actually want to play Hulk and have the benefits of Hulk. With that being said, I think he's B tier now with the changes, and I think with the Hulk team up, he might move up a tier, but for the most part, I think he sits B comfortably. I think he's just fine, like in the middle. Then moving on to Psylocke. So back in Season 2.5, there were nerfs to both her kit and the Emma team up. But in my brain, I think this character is still like outstanding. I think this character is very good. She's an aggressive duelist who still works incredibly well with other high damage heroes like Punisher, like Hela, and like Phoenix from what I've tested. I mean, people are claiming she fell off are overreacting. In my opinion, she's still super dominant. I quite literally think she's still S tier in my heart. Like, she's still insanely good. Like, the changes that were made didn't do anything. Now we move on to Punisher, Scarlet Witch, Squirrel Girl. So Punisher, I mean, back in Season 2.5 and Season 2, there was no debate. Punisher was S tier and arguably probably one of the strongest duelists in the entire game. But the major thing is that for Season 3, he's getting a pretty decent change, and that's reducing the Culling Turret projectile damage from 12 to 10 and decreasing the spell field damage from 12 to 10. Now you might be thinking, oh, they're nerfing the turret. You don't even use the turret really. Well, the whole point of the turret was that you use it to build your ult as quickly as possible. But they're increasing the energy cost of Final Judgment ultimate ability from 3,400 to 3,700. This is a pretty big change to Punisher, because the whole idea of Punisher was literally spamming your ultimate as fast as possible, and I think these nerfs actually really do in fact impact him, because he can no longer build his ultimate like insanely fast, and I think there's other characters that are going to be doing a lot better from this, or benefiting from this. So because of that, I don't think he's S tier anymore. I do think he's maybe knocked down 1 or 2 slots, maybe sitting around A tier. but once season 3 rolls around and we see, season 3 played a little bit more, we'll have a better understanding. Again, super early tier list, and I'm basing off of season 2.5 meta and of the current patches and balances with the addition of Phoenix. So I think he sits at A. Then the Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch reduced the max slow rate during Reality Eraser ultimate ability change from 35 to 25% and increased the damage from 750 to 850. Now, I tried this out in the early access and I thought it didn't actually do anything. The change of the damage doesn't really do anything because she literally deletes every single character regardless of the damage increase. Maybe now certain characters with extra health might get deleted. I mean, I tested it, wasn't that good. The ultimate is still easy to tell, super telepath. Character is D, I'm sorry. It's not a good character. Then moving on to Squirrel Girl. And I think Squirrel Girl is another hyper-specific hero. On maps like the new map, Araco or Convergence, where enemies are stacked in tight choke points, she can do serious work against bunker comps or double shield setups. She's a solid burst damage option. And I think the character overall is solid for what she provides. I think the team up with Iron Man that she's getting isn't crazy at all because it's a 20-second cooldown, so it doesn't really matter that much. She's definitely a niche pick that can definitely work very well. But again, super here situational pick. I think the character sits around C tier. Very situational pick. On certain maps, certain choke points, I'll probably move her up a couple places. But for the majority of the time, she sits around C, in my opinion. C, B, B minus, C plus, around there. Now, when it comes to Star-Lord, Storm, and Winter Soldier, oh my god, I can't speak. Words are hard. Star-Lord, he got a buff back in season 2.5, where they buffed his damage, a 5% damage increase, and it definitely helps him. He's a strong duelist who counters a good number of characters and brings a great value in poke-heavy metas. And I think he's just a very solid counter, or very solid counter to a lot of characters, and a very solid character in general. Now, the thing is, with Hela and Phoenix going to be probably running rampant for season 3, just from what I think about, I think he might be a little bit harder to play. I still think he's a very solid duelist. He's a very good character. I'm very particular with these tier lists, and I think putting him A is fine. I think the character's very good still. Res comp is still going to be good, even though it got slightly changed. It's still going to be very good. So I think that's fine. Then for Storm, in my opinion, Storm has always been a solid character. And players are still finally, understanding why the character is so viable. But because we're adding another hit scan duelist to the game, Phoenix, these flying duelists are going to be a little bit harder to play now, especially when you have to deal with two characters. Essentially, two Helas you're going to have to be dealing with when you're playing a flying character. For the most part, because Punisher is probably going to get played less, Storm's value is also going to be decreasing as well. You're not playing with Hawkeye or anything, so you're losing some impact of that damage boost. That's what you're typically playing with Storm. Storm Punisher, buffing the Punisher up to do a ton of damage. I think we have to move her down a tier to B. She wasn't changed in season 3, but I think the changes made to other characters and the introduction of another hit scan duelist kind of knocks her down a tier. But I think if you want to pick up a flying character, you could still pick up Storm. I think Storm is a very good situational supportive character. It's just you're going to have to worry about two Helas, essentially. Now, for Winter Soldier, he actually got a buff for Season 3, which was kind of surprising. So he does more damage at range now, which, sure, I guess, but I don't think it was needed. I mean, I feel he's a mid to close range character. He doesn't need an increase at longer ranges, but I understand the kind of idea they're going. Actually, I have no idea what they were doing with this change. I'll be completely honest. I was gonna say like the change kind of makes sense, but again, you're playing mid to close range as Winter Soldier. You're not there trying to hit 2 headshots from across the map. But now this helps you do that, I guess. I still think the character is insanely strong. I don't think he's S tier, but I'm putting him A tier. And when I do my tier list, left to right does not matter. If left to right did matter, I'd probably place Winter Soldier like all the way on the left side. But I don't take that into account when I do tier lists ever. So for Wolverine, for season 3, he's getting a team up with Phoenix, which is absolutely insane team up. They're increasing his Feral Leap strike duration from 4 to 5 seconds, so this part is a little bit of a buff. And then they're increasing its cooldown from 12 to 15 seconds, and this part is a nerf. What I tested in the early access, the character is still insane. Like, the character is still S. I don't understand why people were putting him lower back in season 2 and 2.5. Like, the character was still outstanding. The character is still S tier. He's going to be even more annoying in S tier, or in season 3, especially with the team up. So, just, the character is just all around super solid. Then, for Mr. Fantastic, he also got a little bit of a nerf. They reduced his inflated state bonus from 400 to 350 HP. Look, if you're a very good Mr. Fantastic player, this shouldn't necessarily affect you, because you should be knowing when to turn off the inflated mode and when not to. I don't think this necessarily is super impactful to the character. Again, I played him in early access, and I don't think it was that bad. You still get a ton of HP. Yes, it's fit. You lose 50 HP, but I still think the character is very solid. I don't think he's like AS. I think he's like B tier, kind of sitting in the middle. Where is he? I think he sits in B. Now, this is a controversial one that no one really likes to agree with on me, and that's this man here, Human Torch. So they reduced the fire cluster damage per projectile from 6 to 5.5. Reduced supernova ultimate ability shockwave damage from 80 to 75, not a crazy change. And fire tornadoes dots from 120 to 110. Again, not a crazy. The ultimate change, not insanely. But when we look at this, okay, this is a big change, but we didn't get the team up anchor bonus of 5% damage. So instead of doing, 5.5 damage, you do, I think 5.7 whatever. Look, the character is still going to be played whether you want to admit it or not. You say they killed his movement when they haven't changed his movement. The character is extremely fast if you know how to use him properly. People that are sitting here and complaining about this character being absolutely terrible, I don't think, even if they say they play the character, I don't think they really play the character. Or they're not playing him how he's supposed to be played. The whole idea of this character is to do a ton of damage, deny area, and just be a menace with your jails. That's the whole premise. Sure, this is a major change, but we have the 5%, so you get 5.7 damage. So it's not the biggest nerf in the world. It's 3 damage or 2 damage. This doesn't destroy the character. The character is still insanely strong. I played him in early access. The character is very good still. So people, in my opinion, are kind of coping that saying that this character is bad because it's not broken anymore. Look, season 2, season 2.5, this character was absolutely broken. Pro play 24/7 picked. I still think in pro play this character is going to be 24/7 picked. There's no doubt about it. This change is not significant enough to make him not playable or anything like that. The character will still be being played. I think for that reason, this character is A, like in between A and S. Like the character is very good. It doesn't matter. When you look at the actual damage numbers, and you look at the damage numbers, and then you look at the impact of the character. The impact of the character is a lot higher than just his damage because of what the character has to offer. That's the reason why you pick Torch. You don't pick him because he does an insane amount of damage per se, even though he does. You pick him because of the impact, the area of denial, the space you gain from that character, which people don't really understand. They only look at stats, but they don't know the impact. That's like the biggest thing. That's why it gets a little bit annoying when people are saying this character is unplayable, terrible now. No. Then Spider-Man. Spider-Man. So they're increasing the get over here kick damage when pulled to enemies from 50 to 55, increase spider power midair damage from 50 to 55, and increase amazing combo damage from 55 to 60. Now, yes, this character is getting a buff, but you have to remember that he lost his team up. He loses his team up anchor bonus. And if I go down below and I look at his team up bonus, I forget what the percent was. 5% maybe? 10%? I don't really remember the percent that he gained from the team up. But, so he's not as good anymore. But when he has a Human Torch in his team, this is very good. Like, when he has the team up. I've tested it and watched it. In early access, the team up is insanely good for Spider-Man. But when he doesn't have the team up, Spider-Man is absolutely terrible now. I think we put Spider-Man like, I put him like CD tier without the team up. With the team up, he moves up a couple, right? But without the team up, he's not good. For Phoenix. Phoenix is an interesting character. Phoenix is insanely strong. Very good from what I was testing early access. Now, people are saying that her ultimate is terrible. The thing with her ultimate is that it counters things more than just doing damage. I think the character is very good. I think the character is very strong. Can pack a punch. The character is A tier from testing. I don't think she's hella... She might be hella level. It's so hard to know. From what I've tested, the character is insanely fun, insanely strong. Her ultimate's very good. It's good. It's like between S and A, I would say this character from my first impressions of it. Between these two between these two. But anyways, that was the Duelist section of the video. Maybe you found some changes or placements you liked. Maybe you didn't. Let me know in the comments down below and give me your own opinion. Look, I do these videos for fun and not to be stir a ton of debates or whatever, like super negative debates. I mean, it's just an open community. I love you guys as a community and I love hearing what you have to say. So let me know in the comments down below again. Now, kicking off our Duelist section, we have Adam Warlock. And I think he's pretty solid overall. His resurrection comp has value. And while his raw healing output, puts him around B tier, as a full strategist, he can reach A- tier depending on the comp. Now the thing is that this was changed a little bit, the res comp. So increased Leader Soul and Nature Soul ability cooldown from 120 to 135. So Leader Soul is, I believe, Star-Lord. Nature Soul is Mantis. So they're only adding 15 seconds. I don't think the comp is dead. I think the comp is still going to be very strong. Especially with the changes to Mantis. Overall, the character is going to become a bit better. I mean, I think Adam's good. Like, he's good. I put a B. Yeah, B's fine, I think. Now, Cloak and Dagger, this is a character I really don't like, but I think is good. I hate to admit it. She's not a bad pick whatsoever. I think she's there for certain situations, especially with her Blinding Cloak ability, which increases enemy damage taken by 28%. And I think it's a very underrated tool. This character can be good. A very good temple character. It hurts my soul. A tier. So for JOFF or JOFF, I don't think JOFF is good. I really don't think. He was definitely good pre-patch or pre-change. Now he's just kind of just like sits in the back and just farms, heals. I think just better characters, better strategists with better utility. So I think C, because he's technically still a healer, so he's not like the worst in the game, but I think that's fine. Now Loki Luna, they received no changes, but because of the introduction of Phoenix, they are indirectly hurt because Phoenix destroys clones and lamps, and Phoenix can hit her while she's in ult with her overshield, nukes the overshield, drops her HP a bit, and you could focus fire Luna down. But the thing is, the characters are still too good to not put a mess. They have to be. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. So Mantis is a very weird character now because she has a new effect with her healing. She heals allies by 2.5% a second, and they reduce the base healing from 20 a second to 12.5 a second. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this means allies with more, health bar for Vanguards, they will receive more healing, and allies with lower health bars will receive less healing. So she's more of a tank healer now, which is kind of weird to me. And they also increase the energy cost of Soul Resurgence, her ultimate ability, to 3,700, 4,300. I feel like they changed this because technically she's going to be doing more healing to Vanguards. So in theory, she should be building her ultimate faster. And they also increased the bonus max health from her ultimate to 100 to 150. Now, I don't think you would really pick this character over Luna Loki, Cloak and Dagger, or any of the other characters unless you're playing res comp. I think this character still kind of sits very low. I'm being generous by putting her B, in my opinion. I'm being generous with the B tier. I mean, it's okay. Then Rocket. I think Rocket kind of sits in the same area. B. Yeah, I don't think Rocket's amazing, because you have Phoenix and then you have Luna, Loki, Cloak and Dagger. Better options. For Ultron Invis, I think Ultron's A. I think Ultron is very good. His healing isn't insane, and the changes to him that were made for Season 3 were definitely significant. I understand the change of the imperative firewall, but I don't like this. From 8 to 6 seconds, this really hurts Ultron. This is not... It's not terrible, but this is horrible. But I don't think it changes Ultron's impact. Then for Invisible Woman, it was kind of a buff, kind of. They increased the orb projection healing on launch, so when you first throw out your healing, you now heal for 45 and you deal damage for 25. However, they reduced the healing on return from 40 to 35. So the first throw out is 45. Then when it comes back, it's 35. And then the damage from 20 to 15. So they buffed the cast and then they reduced the recall of the ability. It's a very weird change. In general, when I look at this, I don't necessarily see overall a change really made. I guess it's a little bit easier when you first hit your shots. So if you miss, the recall of it, you're not losing out on a ton of healing. But I think the character is fine still. They could put him A or her A. And that's kind of my tier list for Season 3. If you have your own opinions, do let me know in the comments down below. I always love to hear what you guys say as a community. And of course, make sure to subscribe because at 20,000 subscribers, we're going to be doing a Season 3 Battle Pass giveaway. Maybe even at 15, depending on how fast we hit 15,000. But anyways, I hope you have a great and safe day, and I'll catch you in the next one.